In this video, we're going to do what Woodcraft calls a stubby stylus. It can be used on iPad, iPhones, devices like that. So it's a pretty straightforward kit. Not very many pieces on it. Small tube, small stylus on the end, and then a cap to where you can put a little extension deal to put in the headphone jack of the phone to kind of keep it with your phone. I used a small piece of Bloodwood. It was kind of two tones. So we'll start out marking it, getting the center to drill for the tube, and then we'll take it over brad point and a quick drill. It's a fairly short tube, and it comes out. And then we'll take it over and get started gluing. As usual, I use epoxy. I use the scale to measure. I'll start out probably, I think, 7 grams, and then sneak up on it with the hardener to get it to 14. And again, just slowly make sure that the mix is good, and mix it up with the popsicle stick, and you can stir it up pretty readily on this. The bubbles really don't matter. And roughed up the tube, little sandpaper, make sure it fit, put it on the punch, and make sure you get a good amount of epoxy on it. Center it in. I think I had a little excess on the wood part on this. Denatured alcohol to make sure there's nothing in the tube, and then wipe off the punch itself. And this part is sped up. It's 5-minute epoxy. I think this is about 6.5 minutes on the video, but you can see the color changing on the epoxy with the popsicle stick and the cup, and it'll also get very hot, so you can kind of judge on the heat and how the popsicle stick sticks with the epoxy. But when it's done, you can take it and bang it around, do whatever you want, and it's pretty well done. I have a tendency to wait about 30 minutes on it to make sure that the epoxy's cooled down. In the meantime, we can get the blank squared up with the tube, and as usual, I just kind of sneak up on this thing very slowly to make sure that I get the tube squared to the wood, and you can see the brass on the end when it does start showing up. Now we get it on the lathe, pretty easily done on the lathe. Carbide tip. I want this thing to be more round and thicker in the middle and rounded on the corners, much like a ball would be. So I get it rounded first, and once it is, then I'll start working a little more on the sides to bring it in toward the bushings. And again, it's just a square carbide tip, making pretty short work of it. And there I'm starting to work on more the rounding on the ends than the middle, although you're going to have to smooth out the middle also a bit, but I'm taking quite a bit more off the ends than the middle. And I get a shape on it that I'm fairly pleased with. Looks good. And then I start sanding, and I start out with 220 on the sandpaper, making sure that it gets smoothed out. Again, just going on the, making sure that the roundness of I keep on there. And make sure it fits on the bushing side of it also, so sanded. And then of course go with the grain to make sure that you get any kind of lines off of it as much as possible. And I'm working a little more on the edges there where the bushings are. And I just keep going. Then I'll take a little denatured alcohol on it to clean it, to make sure all the little small specks of the sandpaper dust and the dust from sanding it is off of it. And make sure it's dried before I start back in sanding it again. Again, a little more denatured alcohol. Then I finish up with 600 grit on the sandpaper. Just making sure everything is smoothed out. You can see a little bit of the sanding flecks on there. Just make sure that the denatured alcohol will get it out. You just have to make sure you rub a little bit and be patient with it. Make sure it dries. And then start in with the sanding sealer. And I put several coats of the sealer on to make sure all the gaps are filled in it. And then I finish up with friction polish, and you'll see me pinch it down, yep, get it warmed up, put several coats of friction polish on it to get it finished up. Shine of it is starting to come out. Really pleased with the wood, the Bloodwood, really nice wood to work with. And then time to get it off the lathe. And it turned out nice. The two-tone really came out good. And then we start putting it together, which is very easy. You have the stylus part of it on the end. And I decide to put the other end on first, so we only have to squish the stylus in once. And pretty straightforward. Put it right in the, there's a little indentation on the plastic that kind of helps center things, and quick push in. Then on the stylus, same thing, kind of goes on the, in the indentation there a little bit. And just a quick squeeze with the press, goes right in. And then there's a attachment onto it that you can put on the phone jack of your device, whatever you're using, headphone jack. And I don't have any fingernails, so it's a little awkward for me to get the thing, the key ring. It's really it's a real small little key ring type of deal that you put both of them on. And I think I finally get it. If I can get a fingernail in it, I think I finally get it apart enough to where I can put the end of it in and then get it twirled around. And I think here is where it just presses on. I think I finally get it. Yeah, there we go. So you don't have to put it in if you don't want, but I think it makes it easy to find it, keeps it close to your device. So all in all, it turned out really nice. I was certainly pleased with the wood. The wood really came out nice with the two-tone, the darker and the lighter side of it. Made it a nice piece. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Stubby Stylus. Please subscribe, hit the notification buttons, and as usual, more videos to come, and keep in touch.